Well, here goes nothing. I've been meaning to do this for a while, and this is my story. I was born with a rare genetic skin disorder called Epidermolysis Bullosa, and it's basically a blistering of the skin. The layers of the skin don't have the strength of the connective tissue that binds the layers of the skin together, and as a result it creates blisters, and from there sores, which basically affects pretty much everything that you do in life. And this is my story, I guess, if you're interested. There's not a single part of life that hasn't been affected by it. And I'm now 37. I was born with this condition, so for me I've known only this. It has improved over the years, which I'm very grateful to say. But generally there is no cure, and there are different types of the disease, different severities, and I have the middle version. There's simplex, which is the least affected parts of the skin. Then you have my version, which is the junctional, which means it affects the junctional layers of the skin. And then you have the dystrophic version, where basically your hands and your feet become atrophied over the years, which means that they pull in. It can also affect internally your mucous membranes and soft tissues of internal organs, with what you can imagine many complications along the way. But the one I have is junctional, and it's supposed to be non-scarring, but it scars. You can imagine constant lesions, constant blistering, very fragile skin. You've got to be careful of being bumped or bruised, or it'll just turn into a blister, or the skin will just fall right off. It'll scrape away, leaving a raw open sore. It does heal in time, but it will leave scars. And this is probably your closest version of what you get when you get constant blistering, constant sores in the same places over and over. That's what the skin will go like. I guess I'm one of the lucky ones, because it doesn't affect every part of my skin. The skin is fragile everywhere, but there's some areas that are affected more than others. And I'll show you guys photos of what my face used to look like. Right now it's just little bits, but as you can see, my hands, the thumbs, some of the fingers have atrophied. And when I was talking about the dystrophic version, this is what you get. In fact, it gets even worse than that, where all the fingers actually disappear completely, even right down to the bone level. So that's basically what I live with every day. Of no fingernails either. The fingernails have disappeared. Apparently I was born with fingernails, but I think they, with the constant damage, constant blistering, they disappeared. I think I was about two years old when the last fingernail disappeared. And as you can see here, there aren't even any nail bed left. So it's an interesting disease. It also affects the teeth, and yeah, this is me documenting my story, what it's like to live with this disease on a daily basis, and the psychological effects that you go through. As harsh as this disease can be, it's also I've personally at least found that the psychological aspects have been the hardest to deal with, and pretty much with no help. We just had to tough it out on our own. When I was born, they didn't even know what I had. It was so rare. I believe in some parts of the world it's 1 in every 300,000. Where I'm from, South Africa, I believe the number to be a lot higher than that. They're unsure because they're not sure about people who live in rural areas. So they're just not sure of the numbers. I personally have only ever met one other little girl who was a lot younger than I am. Otherwise I've not met anybody else with the same condition. And there's one thing dealing with the disease on a daily basis, and the things that you have to do, changing dressings, trying to keep it as sanitary as possible, and all the different things that have shaped where I am at the moment, where I've been, and we'll see where I'm going.